Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. And as you can see, today is a very sunny day. We were just hit with some snowfall just a little less than a week ago, and you know, in typical Vancouver fashion, it doesn't last very long, but it doesn't mean that it's not cold. Apparently it hasn't happened in over 10 years, but everywhere in Canada we were seeing freezing temperatures all at the same time. Now luckily I don't live in the worst part of Canada in terms of weather, so we do get a pretty long riding season, all things considered. It's nothing compared to like California and stuff like that, but it is significantly better than other parts of Canada, that's for sure. So yeah, today, if you want to call it warm, it's warm enough for me to go riding and not complain about it. It's about 8 degrees today, and we haven't seen that kind of temperature since last year towards the end of riding season. So I'm very thankful that we are approaching the riding season, and it seems like it's coming up really quickly. It almost feels a little bit off, to be honest. But what I do know is that next month, weather pending of course, I'm going to be insuring my ZX-10R again, and I've got a lot of plans for this year for this channel, and hopefully I could follow through with everything. I always say that I will, but you know, sometimes things get in the way, which kind of brings me to a life lesson for you guys. Don't expect that everything's going to go according to plan. Always have a plan B, plan C, hell, even have a plan Z. I'm a little hypocritical when I say that, because sometimes I plan hoping that things are gonna work out, and when they don't work out, I kind of just like shut down and, you know, take a break, mental break. It happens though, no one's perfect. Anyways, so today's video, yes, let's talk about today's video. It's gonna be another story time, all right? From reading the title, you can see that this is the story of the time that I got into my first fight in high school. Now, the reason I say high school is because there's a couple fights I got into in elementary, but I wouldn't really count them because they were pretty dumb, and they didn't really get anywhere. In fact, I'll just kind of skim through the fights in elementary. For some reason in elementary, the biggest thing for us, like for where I was, you know, going to school, is like to trip people, and then you win. So you trip somebody and then all of a sudden you win. There wasn't any really punching involved, so that is why I am not counting it. Now, on the other hand, high school was a different story. There was punching involved. There might have been a black eye involved, or you know, swelling of an eye. Not mine, spoiler alert, but we'll get into that. So let's get started from the beginning here. So I remember this was in grade 10. It's my 3rd year in high school, and we were in a class called Planning 10. So in Planning 10, it's a class basically about planning your future. That's why it's called Planning 10. Haha, so smart. And to be honest, this was kind of a stupid class, okay? Looking back at it now, it was really kind of pointless. Not many people took it seriously, and it didn't help either with the fact that all of us were in a computer room whenever we'd be in Planning 10. At least for like half of the course we were in a computer room, and then the other half we were in a classroom. But anyways, those days that we were in the computer room, we used to have a disk that we passed around so everybody could install it, because every time you turn off those computers, anything that you installed on the day of would get deleted, so you'd always have to reinstall things. So we'd be passing around a disk of Counter-Strike 1.6. So this was back in 2007, I believe. That's when I was in grade 10, yeah. So at some point during the course of the semester, we found out that, hey, we could just screw around and play Counter-Strike against each other. And, you know, we were pretty good at alt-tabbing whenever we needed to, whenever, like, the teacher would come around. So obviously, the people who played Counter-Strike, we sat at tables with computers that were facing away from the front of the room. That way, of course, you know, the professor wouldn't see that we were playing games or whatever. So yeah, just kind of a little backstory. That's kind of how Planning 10 was. And then one day in particular, I'm not sure how it really started, but this is what I can recollect, okay? So my friend Nigel, he was kind of a shit starter, okay? He loved to rile people up. So in this one particular day, it was me and this other guy, let's just call him Mike, okay? So me and Mike, I guess we were kind of having like some disagreements, and it wasn't anything too serious. It would have never elicited a fight, that's for sure. But then Nigel, being the shit starter that he was sitting in between us, so he was hearing the whole conversation of us having this disagreement over whatever it was, something probably petty, honestly. And then he decided, hey, you know, I'm gonna start some shit with these two. And you know, pretty much every time that we had a rebuttal towards each other, Nigel would chime in and go, oh, you gonna take that shit? Look, he's saying this, he's saying that. And he would basically paraphrase what we had just said, but in a more negative way and in a more malicious way. So obviously at some point it was getting a little bit more heated, and I think at some point Nigel was like saying you guys should fight during the break or something like that. So now we're on break and we're in one of the hallways. I think it was called Orca Lane, and we were towards the end of the hallway. So in the end of the hallway there were these double doors that lead to the back of the school where the tennis court, basketball courts are, all that stuff. And we were right beside the double doors. So this is kind of where the fight began, and next thing you know, I threw a punch first, hit him in the face, and from there it was really pretty much a one-sided fight. I don't think he landed anything on me, to be honest, because I don't remember feeling anything or having any wounds or anything like that. But basically punched him, pushed him through the double doors. He ended up on his back in the grass outside, and I was just on top of him punching his face. And I got some pretty damn good hits, and I remember all the kids were surrounding us, just kind of cheering me on, or cheering on the fight. At least you know how high school kids are, right? And then next thing you know, there's somebody pulling me off of this kid, this Mike kid, right? And it turns out to be a teacher. Her name is Miss Niesner. She was a PE teacher at our school, and that was pretty much where the fight ended. But that's not even the best part, okay? So obviously after we got into the fight, we were both sent to the principal's office, separate rooms, of course. And then they called our parents. My dad came, and the next thing you know, it's me, my dad, and the vice principal sitting in his office. And I don't exactly remember everything that was said, but what I do remember that was said that really kind of hasn't left my brain ever since, because I found it so funny, was that it was made apparent that there was kind of favoritism going on here. And I knew by the end of it that the vice principal really liked me and he didn't really care for the other kid. And it was kind of weird. Like, I was very involved publicly in music stuff, like showcases and talent shows, and I'd be playing and singing. So maybe this vice principal in particular was kind of like a music guy, who knows. You know, the other guy wasn't involved in anything really, and he honestly probably didn't even know anything about this kid. So that's probably why favoritism kind of had a play here. But let me explain exactly what I mean by favoritism, okay? So I remember we were sitting in the vice principal's office. It's me, my dad, and the vice principal. He was basically saying you know, how this whole kerfuffle started, and you know, us getting into a heated argument, and we got into a fight. And then he topped it off by saying, yeah, your kid has much better aim than the other one. And I remember kind of like, I was looking down, and then when he said it, I looked up, I was like, huh? Did he just say that? And of course, you know, my dad, he loves to fight. I feel like the violence was always kind of his way of solving things by default, which is it's not a good thing, okay? I'm not saying it's a good thing at all. You shouldn't be like that. So obviously he didn't care so much about me getting in trouble. He just wanted to know that I beat the kid up, right? It's like one of those proud dad moments, I guess. And also on top of that, Mike, he gets a 3-day suspension at home. I get like a 3-day suspension in school, but it only lasted really a day. Like, I was there for a day, and then all of a sudden they sent me back to class. So my suspension was even shorter than the other guys, and I didn't even have a mark on me. He went to school and he had a black eye like 3-4 days later. It was the weirdest thing. And that's when I knew I was in, you know, this vice principal's good books. So yeah, that was the story of my first fight. It went exactly the way I would have hoped it would have gone, meaning that I won. It's always good to win. But honestly, guys, if you can verbally fix a problem, go down that route instead. Don't resort to violence. It can be a really traumatizing experience for you or somebody else if, you know, what you guys choose to do with that violence goes completely out of hand. Luckily for us, it was just fist fighting, but you know, out there it could be pretty much anything. It could be a knife involved, it could be a gun involved, and sometimes people are very unpredictable. So yeah, kind of a story and a lesson all in one. Hopefully you guys can take away something from this. And if you guys want to share your first fight experience down below, let me know. I'm interested in hearing it. Did you win? Did you lose? Did you become friends afterwards? Did you guys hate each other afterwards? Let me know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time, and of course I will see you in the next video. Peace.